Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. Today I'm going to paint not one but two portraits just to show you how different monochromes convey different mood. And monochromes are not only black and white, they can be any color as long as you stick to one color per painting. So let's just dive right into it. Creating a monochromatic painting doesn't necessarily mean you have to use only one color and add black or white to it. It just means you have to kind of stick to that color palette. So for instance, if you're going into pinks, you can definitely stick with the brighter reds, but also add some deeper and colder reds so that you have a better variation of shades and it's easier to work with that, and also it will create a really nice depth to the painting. And since you are working with just one color as a general rule, you really want to add those extra shades just to have something that will act as a cool color and something that will add as a warmer color, and that will also help you build any composition. As for my composition, I have chosen to do some imaginary portraits. I haven't done those in a while, and that was always my favorite thing to do since I was a teenager. And I just like how applying a colder, almost magenta to the hair, and then warmer tones of pink to the flesh parts of the portrait. I want the portraits to be very soft, and therefore I'm not adding too much detail or too much definition. I feel like when the monochromatic paintings lack certain details, they actually look so much better because they kind of have this layer of the total color going throughout the whole painting that really unites the whole picture, that you just don't want to throw in too many details in there. As you can see, apart from the color schemes, the techniques are also slightly different. I have started the pink painting by applying kind of the inside shape first, going outside, while in this minty green that is going to be blue afterwards. I am using the outlines first and then filling in everything with color. Even though the portraits are imaginary, I still have to put in the work and make all of those facial features look believable so that the viewer can't even tell whether I made these people up or they do actually exist. I also decided to make the main focus of the portrait nose and the mouth. I decided to keep the eyes kind of in the shadow without any details, just because I feel like whenever people think of portraits, they definitely want to see the eyes, especially the makeup and the highlights that we have in the middle of our pupils. But I just wanted to show how even without all of this, you can still have a very alive portrait that can say a lot. Now, a little fun addition to the painting is texture paste. I love working with textures in general, and I feel like adding more textured background to these paintings will really make it pop, because usually the backgrounds they have to be kind of flattened and nobody really pays attention to them, but here I decided to actually bring them forward so that the portrait itself is kind of pushed into that texture. It's always better to add the texture paste to a dried canvas. So if you have some wet paint on your canvas, just let it dry first. Otherwise, you might end up having cracks, especially if you put a lot of texture like I did. The highlights are very gentle, also very pink, and of course the background is going to be tinted afterwards as well. I just needed to kind of unite the painting even more, because keeping it just flat white is not doing this beautiful texture any justice, and once you tint that texture, it actually looks even more three-dimensional and it looks more intentional in a painting. Here I'm using my favorite glazing technique, and I added a little bit of that cold red into the whole painting so that all of these highlights and shadows are even more united. They do have a little less kind of contrast in them, but I will be bringing just some of them back. For this session, of course, I'm going in first with the darks, so I'm just marking all of the things that need to go a little darker, like the nostrils and all of the facial features that are just kind of wiped off. Even if I'm making these soft portraits, it doesn't mean that they don't have any contrast in them. And even though I do like when there's like a certain color uniting the whole picture, I still want to be able to see a little bit of the facial structure here and there, and just some accents that would be just interesting to look at. Working on the edges is also very important, because that's what gives you that soft and round feel of each object. And if you make sharper edges, you're just kind of highlighting the structure and making it a little more kind of hard and a little more just accentuated. Here I'm glazing again, but using the blue ultramarine, and let's see how drastically different this portrait will look in comparison to the pink one. Here I'm adding more shadow with all of these beautiful blue shades, so I chose the ultramarine to be the one responsible for my shadows, and the rest, like cobalt and like this Berlin blue, will be responsible for the midtones and the lights. So here you will be able to see how even within the blues there are warmer tones and cooler tones when you put them all next to each other. The shadows in the beginning look a little harsh and a little too dark, but with oils it's always easier to go lighter, so at this point I'm not panicking, and yeah, so they will get very soft and very quickly. I feel like most of the paintings go through this ugly duckling stage before they actually get good, so this is quite normal for the process. Now that the canvas is covered with blue, I can finally get to actually modeling her face and giving her some facial features that will make her personality pop. Usually blues are used in portraits to push any of the shapes back, so you would normally add a little bit to the temples, like over here, or in just any other area that you want to push back. But since the portrait here is entirely blue, I love how it just really pops, and it's so bright and it's vibrant, and it has so much dimension as well. I wonder if any of you have done such experiments. If you did or would like to try, just share that in the comments and let's have a little discussion. Also, between the shades, I'm using a very soft and small brush to kind of blend in the shades a little better with each other, just because I don't want them to be way too dramatic, and I still want that softness on the face and the neck. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel to see more of the upcoming videos. However, if you would like to see more content right now, you can select either of the options on the side, and I'll see you in the next video.